In my opinion, this surgeon just took money from us and didn't do anything. The blonde lamented, looking at herself in the mirror. Ethan just sighed. Olivia, he began patiently, Christopher is the best rhinoplasty in the city. And he did everything very carefully. Tears appeared in the girl's eyes. Only 3 weeks had passed since the plastic surgery, but Olivia ran up to the mirror 100 times a day, critically examined her nose, and then began to get loudly upset. "Look for yourself! Look!" She pointed a finger at her reflection. "Can you tell me what has changed and how?" "The swelling hasn't subsided yet," Ethan answered tiredly. "And the final result will be noticeable only in a year. We already talked about this. Please don't be nervous." "Well," she shrugged. As he did so, one of the straps of his home jersey slipped, exposing his round shoulder. It looked extremely tempting. Ethan was already reaching out to hug the girl, but she turned back to the mirror. "I just thought the nose would become tiny, like a doll's." "It's not for everyone, darling. Trust Christopher. He is a true professional. Others in my clinic do not work." "But She again started her organ about disappointed expectations and how painful it is to be disappointed after she decided to go under the knife and went through a painful post-operative period. Ethan felt rage boiling inside him. He was ready to fire Christopher, although he understood that the surgeon was only to blame for the fact that he did everything flawlessly. But darn, Olivia complained non-stop, and it would be better for Ethan to spit on aesthetics, facial proportions, and other considerations, and just saw off half of the stupid girl's nose. She would be happy, and he, Ethan, would not have to console her for the 4th week in a row. He looked at his watch. It was already 9. "It's time to go, otherwise my wife will go crazy with worry and start calling. You'll have to spin like a frying pan, inventing convincing lies." Another hope for a pleasant evening in Olivia's company was dashed. Again. "It's time for me to go, kitten," he said quietly. Olivia waved her hand. "Go." She was still carefully examining herself in the mirror. Ethan hurriedly got dressed and left, slamming the door behind him. Sometimes he regretted that he had gotten involved with this capricious woman at all. Olivia ran to the window just in time to see the man get into the car. "Idiot," she muttered. The phone on the table had been playing a cheerful song for a long time. The girl pointed irritably at the reception desk. "Yes? Hi, beauty," a female voice greeted cheerfully. "Why don't you answer?" The blonde's face brightened. "Rita! Yes, I just got here. At least this one just left. He got me. I have no more strength. And after the plastic surgery, it became unbearable. He came every evening. You know, I'm worried about how I feel, and I no longer know where to get away from him. I whine that I don't like the result. The nose is not the same. Everything is wrong. In general, I'm stalling for time." "He cares about you," interrupted a friend. "Do I need his care?" Olivia asked sadly. "I'm tired of him. I want freedom." "Well, why am I wasting time here? He won't get divorced anyway." Rita laughed. "Wow, how much jewelry did he give you, huh? And the yacht? How many men do you know who give such gifts to their mistresses? Have you spent even a penny on plastic surgery?" Olivia nodded as if her friend could see her. "That's right, Rita. Only I'm tired. And I'm afraid. And if he leaves me, what will I have left? With a nose? That's all. And he will probably take the gifts. I know these guys. But listen, I came up with something. Tell me, have you watched Titanic? Well, with DiCaprio." Arriving at the house, Ethan did not immediately get out of the car. In the windows, he saw this. The shadow of his wife flashed. He's probably running from the kitchen to the living room right now, setting the table. How many times had he told her not to worry about cooking? Food from the restaurant could be ordered every day. Finances allow. But the wife was from the breed of true homemakers. "I like to hang out in the kitchen," the wife replied, "and then I like to cook for you." Ethan could only shrug and smile, but deep down he was even glad. He always felt like there were different ways to say, "I love you." By giving a gift, having prepared dinner, or just ask how you are doing. He knew that the woman he was married to loved him. Even after 20 years of their marriage, in which there was everything: poverty, fatigue, stress, round-the-clock work, and then the main test: money. Ethan felt the keys in his pocket and headed towards the house. The door was slightly open, which meant that the home comfort fairy had noticed his approach. "Hello!" he greeted loudly. His wife peeked out from the living room, came over and nuzzled his neck. He closed his eyes and pulled her closer to him. The soft hair magically smelled of vanilla and something else. Chocolate? Cinnamon? "Wash your hands and quickly sit down to dinner," she chirped. "Come on, otherwise everything will cool down." He enjoyed the smells from the living room. This woman was a culinary genius. If she was thinking about making money from this, but she chose family. Ethan sometimes thought that he did not deserve such a wife. They had dinner together, telling each other about their day. Usually Ethan had more news, and the wife's news was small, but very sweet, cozy, like herself and their whole house. He realized that it had always been very easy for him with his wife. They had a good time together, no matter what they did. "I feel so good with you," he said out loud. "Chat, eat, watch a movie, and sleep, of course. That is, even just to sleep, you know?" She answered him with a sly smile. "Why not just sleep?" That evening, Ethan stretched out on the wide bed but did not pick up a book as usual. The wife appeared on the threshold of the bedroom in a long, translucent peignoir, which in no way hid her chiseled figure. Everything was in sight: long, slender legs, an elegant waist, and a flat tummy. Her brown hair was loose and covered her shoulders and chest. It was absolutely impossible to continue lying around when such beauty was nearby. Ethan stood up and took his wife in his arms. Olivia was reclining in a chair, twirling a blonde lock of hair around her finger. The dark-haired guy sitting on the carpet at her feet frowned with displeasure. "I don't like it," he said. "Either you're talking nonsense or you're not telling me everything." "Well, what happened, John?" The girl stood up, sat up straight, and looked into his eyes. "I told you that you and I will leave here, and very soon. What else do you want to know?" "Details," John said stubbornly. "Where will we go when this happens? And if you decided to leave your money bag, then why can't you leave now?" "Because," the girl lightly touched his lips with her finger. They didn't flinch. On the contrary, the guy pulled away as if her touch was unpleasant to him. Olivia noticed this, but did not remove her hand from his face. It was not time yet. "We'll have to wait a little. We'll need money to live, won't we? That's why I want us to have them. Well, just don't ask questions yet, okay? You will find out everything later, especially since I will need your help." The concern on the guy's face gave way to feigned horror. "Do you want me to kill him, beauty?" He grinned. "There are no limits to women's cunning." Olivia laughed. "Fee, why so rude?" she answered him in the same tone. "My idea is much nicer." John looked searchingly at the girl. "What if I think that you don't trust me?" "Why?" "What are you?" he continued, not paying attention to her question. "Are you talking about how we will be together, but in reality you just want me to help you?" "If I think so." He got up from the floor and walked to the door. "Think what you want, I said everything," Olivia shouted. There were tears in her voice. John turned around and grinned. "God forbid if I think so. Then you will have to fix your nose again." He said this casually, without any threat in his voice, but it was precisely this calmness and routine that terrified Olivia. The morning promised to be wonderful. Ethan kissed his sleeping wife and, trying not to make any noise, left the bedroom. The kitchen was already flooded with the cheerful May rays of the sun. He listened. The bird noise outside the window did not stop for a second, but it warmed his soul. Spring. It's spring already. He wanted to call Olivia and ask her to wait and come at least half an hour before work. It's not worth it. The former cheerful, gentle Olivia, whom he met 6 months ago, would be delighted with him, but the current one does not. On the contrary, she will complain that he pulled her out of bed early in the morning, and then again she will disagree about his nose. It's strange how sometimes people change. Ethan remembered how he immediately told his mistress that he would never leave his wife. Olivia didn't look upset at all. She wrapped her arms around his neck, stood on tiptoes, and whispered that she would still love him and that she didn't need any stamp in her passport. How grateful he was for these words. 3 days later, Ethan rented an apartment for his girlfriend in an excellent area. Olivia said that she didn't need anything and was quite happy with life in the Khrushchev, but he, melting from her dedication, insisted on moving. The girl never asked him for anything, so Ethan was only too happy to shower her with gifts. In joy, until he suddenly noticed. The more he cared about his mistress, the more capricious she became. She often complained of boredom and said that she would not be able to make friends in this pretentious sphere. Ethan increasingly found Olivia in a gloomy mood, and it was impossible to cheer her up. Neither gifts nor offers to go on vacation helped. She listened to him with a sharp, unpleasant grin, and then Ethan fell silent in confusion and went home. The easy romance he was waiting for turned into a dull chore. He would have gladly broken off this relationship, which had become so tiresome, but he felt sorry for the girl. He considered himself responsible because he himself taught her a beautiful life. And he really hoped that she would soon announce their separation to him. Ethan, without warning his girlfriend, bought the apartment in which she lived. Let this be his parting gift. The phone in his pocket vibrated so suddenly that Ethan flinched and grabbed the receiver. "Ethosha, come!" Olivia shouted. She was choking with sobs. "Come, please!" "Quiet, quiet." He tried to speak calmly without raising his voice to force her to listen. "What's happened? Do you feel bad?" "Yacht!" She was already screaming in hysterics. "The yacht you gave me, Ethan! She drowned at night. They called me now. Ethan, He laughed with relief. "Yes, and God be with her. The main thing is that no one was really hurt. I'll buy you another one." "I liked it," the girl sobbed, "and now she can't be returned." "Okay, that's it. Calm down," he asked softly. "Drink valerian and go to bed. I'll come see you in the evening, okay?" He passed out and, still smiling, took his favorite orange mug from the shelf. "Did something happen, Ethan?" His wife stood in the doorway. Her hair, disheveled after a crazy night, fell in heavy waves over her shoulders and back. "What's happened?" "Nothing," he muttered, pretending to be busy looking for coffee. "This is Emma, Christopher's assistant. You know how crazy she is? Her bag was stolen on her way to work, and now she's crying. I promised that I would buy her another one." "Emma?" My wife stretched sweetly and yawned. "Ah, well, then everything is clear." In the evening, Olivia was not at home. Ethan, having lingered at the door for a couple of minutes, remembered that he had a duplicate key in his car. A ringing silence reigned in the apartment. He grinned as he walked through the rooms and looked into the kitchen. Olivia emptied all the closets and did not leave a single item of clothing, but she considered it an excessive effort to wash the cup after herself, quite in her spirit. Ethan went outside, unable to understand what he really felt, resentment or relief. He couldn't understand it the next day, or 2 days later, or a week later. After a month and a half, everything connected with the girl began to seem like a distant, half-forgotten dream. And at the same time, Ethan wanted to get at least some news from her. It wasn't that he longed for her return. Life without Olivia has become calmer and much more pleasant. But he wanted to know that the girl was okay. When a woman's voice called out to him in the store, he turned around, almost sure that he was about to see Olivia. But it turned out that it was not her. "Lisa, I think? You are Olivia's friend. You were at her birthday party," he recalled. "Exactly. And I thought you wouldn't remember me." The girl was the opposite of Olivia, a small, slightly plump brunette with dark, shiny eyes. "How is Olivia doing?" Ethan asked. "You probably know better," the girl said evasively. "We have a conflict with her. She's in trouble. And you helped her a lot." He laughed softly. "Yes, I tried, but it didn't work out. What kind of trouble is Olivia in?" Lisa hesitated. "I don't know if I should tell you. Let me decide that." The girl looked around and, having made sure that no one was eavesdropping, whispered, "She's in trouble, but she's not the victim." "Who then?" "You should ask her yourself," Lisa sighed. "I just wanted to warn you. Olivia is not the one you think she is." Ethan didn't sleep all night. He was furious, from his own helplessness, from the fact that the girl he was ready to make happy turned out to be a fraud. Most likely, it was from fatigue. He went to bed late and got up early. At 5 in the morning, he lay down on the pillow and finally fell asleep. Olivia saw his car from the window and, exhausted, fell on the bed. The day was rich, eventful, and interesting, but she no longer had the strength to rejoice. She called John. "Let's take a vacation, okay? We just had a rest last month." "You can never have too much rest." The girl sighed. Well, if you insist, but only for a week. They went to rest on the ocean. It was a spontaneous, unexpected decision. John loved the water and everything connected with it, so he was happy to go to the sea. They arrived in the afternoon and immediately went swimming. The girl loved to swim, to dive, to bask in the waves, to frolic like a child. John, in contrast, was more serious. He loved to watch the water surface, think about something, or just admire the sky. "Let's stay here forever," Olivia suggested, lying on a sun lounger. "We can't do this, remember?" John replied. He always knew how to bring Olivia back to reality. "It's a pity," she sighed. "And what if we leave anyway?" "Where?" "Well, to another country." The girl waved her hand. "I don't know where, but we'll think of something, right?" John did not answer. He looked at the waves in silence. "We can live in the Maldives," the girl chirped. "Work as a diver, and I will do what I love. And if there is no money, I'll just ask someone for it." "Who?" "Well, you can." Olivia looked into his eyes. "You always want to help me." She grinned, thinking about how surprised he would be. "You're funny," John grinned. "I will not work, but I will give you money. Or we can live on an island all our lives. Have you thought about how we will eat?" "Fish! We'll catch it ourselves, and then we'll fry it on the fire." "And where are we going to get the firewood from?" "Well, you will look for them," laughed the girl. "You can do it." John shook his head with a smile. "I understand. This is your beautiful dream. Only, my darling, remember, not everything that looks beautiful on the surface is really beautiful." Olivia's eyes darkened. "What's the matter with you?" "Nothing, nothing. Let's just not fantasize, but enjoy the rest." The next day, they rented a small boat and sailed to a deserted island. Olivia was in awe. She had never seen anything like it. White sand, clear water, silence. She wanted to stay here forever. John, on the other hand, was tense. He didn't like the deserted place. He felt a slight anxiety. The guy went into the jungle, collected fruits, and climbed the trees, and Olivia lay on the beach, sunbathing, dreaming about a new life. When John returned, he saw that Olivia was sleeping. He smiled, sat down next to her, and began to stroke her hair. "Wake up, beauty," he said softly. Olivia opened her eyes and looked at him with a dreamy look. "What are you thinking about?" John asked. "About a new life, about a new beginning." The girl sighed. "And I'm thinking that it's time to go back." "Why? Let's stay here a little longer." Olivia clung to him. "We have time." "We have time, but we don't have the opportunity. We can create it." "Olivia, no need to create illusions. Let's live in the real world." "And I want to live in a fairy tale." John kissed her on the forehead. "Sometimes fairy tales are not as beautiful as they seem at first glance." "I don't care. I am ready for anything for the sake of a new life." "You don't know what you want yet. Trust me, I do." The next day they returned home. Olivia was sad. She wanted to stay on that island forever. John, on the other hand, was relieved. He felt more comfortable in the real world. Back in the city, Olivia decided to meet with Lisa. "Why are you spying on me, huh?" the girl said, seeing her friend in a cafe. "I'm not spying on you," Lisa replied calmly. "I just wanted to talk." "Let's talk," Olivia agreed. "What do you want to know?" "Why are you doing this?" Lisa looked into her eyes. "Why do you hurt people?" Olivia smiled. "I don't hurt anyone, I just use them." "Ethan is a good person. He didn't deserve that." "Deserved," the girl laughed. "I don't owe him anything." "But he helped you." "And I paid him back," Olivia snapped. "He was useful to me, and I was useful to him. It's simple. You are not normal." "You are not the first to tell me that," Olivia grinned. "Okay, I'm leaving. Think about what you're doing." Olivia laughed. "Don't worry about me. I'm doing well." "You won't get far with this attitude." "We'll see." The girl waved her hand. And Lisa left, realizing that there was no point in arguing with Olivia. She was not going to change. Olivia continued her life, continuing to use people. But deep down, she felt a growing emptiness. She no longer enjoyed what she was doing. And then one day she met a man who turned her life upside down. His name was Michael, and he was different from everyone Olivia had met before. He was kind, honest, and genuine. Michael saw through Olivia's facade and challenged her to be a better person. At first, Olivia resisted, but slowly, his kindness and sincerity began to break through her defenses. She found herself opening up to him in ways she never had with anyone else. Michael showed her the value of real connections and the joy that comes from genuine relationships. With his influence, Olivia started to change. She began to understand the consequences of her actions and the impact she had on others. Michael helped her find a sense of purpose beyond materialistic pursuits. Olivia realized that true happiness comes from within and is not dependent on manipulating or using others. Together, they embarked on a journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Olivia learned to appreciate the beauty of authenticity and the fulfillment that comes from building meaningful connections. She left behind her manipulative ways and embraced a more genuine and compassionate approach to life. In the end, Olivia discovered that the real transformation wasn't in changing others, but in changing herself. Michael became not just a partner, but a catalyst for her own evolution. The two of them built a life together based on mutual respect, love, and authenticity, proving that even the most jaded hearts can find redemption and true happiness.